Yeah, you have to be super picky. That's the only way that this job works. Like the Ubers and the DoorDashes and shit. You have to be like you can't just take every order. It doesn't work like that. And this tip economy, like that shit is never gonna change. Like I was reading this thing the other day on Reddit that was actually pretty interesting. Which let me pull it up. So I was reading this. So I hate to be that guy, but I can't even find a damn job. The fuck do you mean no one wants to work? So he says that he has experience in management and in property management, and he's been working doing this for decades. So apparently he's been trying to find a job, and he's having a really hard time finding something. Like he puts in applications and they get rejected a lot, which is exactly what's been happening to my fiance, because she has the same type of experience. She's deep into management and stuff. She was applying for like a countless amount of jobs, and they were all either saying that she didn't have enough experience in their eyes, even though, like, I mean, 6 years of experience should be more than enough, but I guess not. And then a lot of these places are like super picky as to like how they actually function, because they're like, oh, if you didn't work for my type of company, like let's say Starbucks or whatever, if you didn't work for Starbucks and you don't have Starbucks 6 years experience, then fuck off. And that's basically like what's happening with a lot of these businesses. And I think overall, probably with this system and the way it's working, is that they don't want to hire nobody, because they got it down to like basically skeleton crews. That they got used to that during COVID, and now they're trying to take advantage of it now when they need backup. Like I see it all the time with my fiance. She's worked at countless jobs that after COVID, that are just literally working on like super skeleton crews, and every time she's tried to recruit people, they literally like reject they reject her from even getting new employees. Like I remember the last job she had, oh my god, it was horrible, because like they were struggling as it was, and people were calling out and things were happening, you know, life happens. And like these fucking people, like she was trying to hire people, and the actual owner themselves, or like the upper management, whenever she would try to like get somebody hired in, they deny her immediately. They're like, oh, you don't need any extra people, you already got people, what are you talking about? Everything's fine, everything's good, just keep fucking working, just work your ass off. Because basically like their whole concept is like, go ahead and work. Like let's say you're on salary. If you're on salary, then forget it, you're gonna lose your life. Because basically like they're okay with you working over your time, because they're not paying you to do that, right? And they take advantage of people that way. Like even at the Dunkin' that she's working at right now, the other day, no one showed up to their shift, and she was by herself in that place. She was supposed to leave at 2 p.m. She was there since 4 o'clock in the morning, and she's exhausted, you know, and she didn't eat anything at all, because she don't like eating food there, because she's vegan, so she's very picky about the stuff. No one showed up for like 2 whole hours. And when the person that finally shows up after, you know, she's been like texting the district manager and all that stuff for the whole 2 hours trying to get somebody to come out, and they kept saying, oh yeah, somebody's coming, somebody's coming. When somebody finally showed up, it was the manager of another Dunkin' that just finished her shift, and she was gonna do a double basically to close, but she's on salary also. So like basically like she came in and like she's working for free, you know. Like that's, how is that fair at all? There's nothing cool about that or fair. And it's the people like that that ruin it for everybody else, because they make it seem like it's okay for you to like go ahead and do shit like that, you know, to go ahead and like overwork your ass for free, and yeah, it's perfectly fine, right? Like, no man, fuck that. But anyway, like going back to the story here, because I got super sidetracked. So look at these comments. So right here, they took advantage of their businesses running on minimal staff because of COVID. There we go. So now they are working people 3 times as hard while cutting where they can, which is exactly what's happening right now. Like, why would they hire anybody else when they could just work everybody else to death? Let's look down a little bit, because there was some good stuff here, some spicy things. They figured they can just crack the whip on harder on fewer people. That's basically the same concept. Where's that guy? I don't know. Maybe he deleted all his comments. Damn. But he was like, he said he was a restaurant owner. Okay, I think this is it. This guy got so many thumbs down. Like, he got so many thumbs down. But I think this is the dude. He says, while I run a restaurant, I can't get servers. Now, mind you, the server bank at my store, or the servers bank at my store, meaning that they make money. One of them worked a double Saturday and made over $500 in tips. Also, because we only have 2 servers in the morning and 3 at night, definitely not ideal staffing. I need about 3 more cooks, and we've hired, but they can't handle volume and don't come back or just quit. You see, there's a reason behind this. He'd hired them, and then they can't handle the rush, and then they get frustrated and quit. But that's not what the real problem is. The real problem is that they're not getting paid enough, because I promise you that they're not getting paid enough to deal with the bullshit that they're dealing with. And that's 99% of businesses out there. Like, I'm telling you, like, when they work you to death to the point where you feel like it's pointless because you can't even pay your bills with it, it's like, fuck that, and then you leave. You know, like, you might as well just be on unemployment. I had a to-go server walk out in the middle of her shift, of the shift, because it was too busy for her. Servers here make $2.13 an hour. And this is the problem here. These companies, like restaurants, all of it, they rely on this tip system. And it's the same with DoorDash, and it's the same with, this is the United States. This is in the United States of America. They're doing shit like this. $2.13 an hour. And this is still happening from years ago. This is still happening. I remember back in like the early 2000s when I was just starting to get jobs and stuff like that. I was just starting to work. And like every business was run this way, where they would pay you like minimum like $5 or some shit. And they're probably still doing the same shit, where they pay you $5 an hour, and then they're like, oh, promise of tips though, you could be making $15 to $20 an hour, you know, because that's what they say on the actual resume. But that's not what's really happening if nobody wants to fucking tip. So like it's basically like punishing the customers and forcing them to like pay tips in order to pay the salary of the person that's helping them. And that's wrong. Because the one that should be paying is the company themselves. Because if the company was paying properly, like if this, let's say this restaurant, for example, was paying a minimum of like $10 to $15 an hour on top of the tips, then we're talking, you know, then we'll be making some really good money. And then there will be no complaints. Everybody would fucking just suck up the job and just do it. You know, like nobody will be walking out of a job like that because they have the guaranteed pay. But to make $2.13 an hour and then you get stiffed on a few of your customers, nah, man, no, fuck that. Like, no way. And this is the main reason why so many people are doing Uber and DoorDash right now, and all these gig programs. In like, there's a lot of them. There's too many. Instacart, all that shit. They're doing that because they don't have to deal with a boss breathing down their neck. They don't have to deal with a customer breathing down their neck, because most of the time the customers don't. I never speak to customers. Like, I'm telling you, like, most of my day is literally just go to the restaurant. Hi, I'm picking up for blah blah blah. They come, they bring me the order. All right, have a nice day. I put it in the car. I'm blasting my music on the way to the customer, and then I pull up. I put their bag right in front of the door. I take a picture of it. And then I go the extra mile and I message them, have a nice day. And then I go off to the restaurants again. That's my day. So basically, like, it's the easiest job right now because I don't really have to do shit other than just like drive. That's it. So like, it is a super easy job, and this is why everybody's doing this shit. You know, but the problem is that now it's became unpredictable because tips are a major part of that job. So if DoorDash and Uber and all these companies would actually pay like a decent wage, like if the deliveries like that came through would pay at least a minimum of $5, or even like match the amount of miles you're doing, like give you $1 per mile or something, then this job would be a million times better. Like, I would literally take every single delivery that came through in my screen if it was like that. But like, since we have to rely on tips, making $2, like this $2.13 on like one order, like that just doesn't fly, man. Like, and then they try to promise you like, oh, but you could get a tip at the end. Like with DoorDash, no one adds tips or takes tips away from you. What you see on the screen is what you see on the screen. With Uber, it's the opposite. So basically, like, someone could tip you on there, but why would you go on an RNG chance to do it. It's almost like playing a freaking game and having like a 0.001 chance for the item to drop, and you're gonna sit there grinding on the fucking enemies for hours and hours and hours, and nothing happens. Like, you're eventually gonna lose your mind, right? And that's the same thing that happens with these jobs. Is like you're basically grinding for no reason. But with this is your life on the line, because you could end up getting evicted from your house, losing your power, losing your internet, like losing a lot of shit, you know? Like, so it's real shitty. There's a lot of owners that want to live that lifestyle like that. Like, they just want to be able to just party and you know, I own the shit, so I can go ahead and just be lazy as fuck and not have to do anything. I could barely appear, and like, you know, I can act like I'm busy even though I'm not. Like, that's basically the whole thing. You know what it is for, like, they say that being a CEO is hard, but how is it possible for a CEO to own like multiple businesses, like sometimes even hundreds of businesses, and a bunch of like properties that they're renting out to, and all sorts of fucking crazy shit? Like, they're basically CEO to like hundreds or even thousands of companies, and they're able to do it no problem. So like, how is it okay for them to do that? But then like the recent stuff that's been happening, where like somebody works like 2 jobs at the same time, or 3 jobs at the same time, like especially like the work from home stuff, they work like 2 jobs at the same time. They get fired from one of their jobs because they're working 2 jobs. It's a conflict of interest because you're working like 2 jobs. Like, what the fuck? Like, how is that fair for them to go ahead and kick somebody out of a company for that, but then it's okay for them to own like 1,700 fucking businesses? It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. But yeah, like, this guy, he got stormed by the downvotes because of this, and it was mainly because of that $2. You see, like, this guy said it. Like, what the fuck? So like, it's just it's pretty hilarious. And you see, and this is the concept right here. Yes, where I live, that's the minimum for servers. So that means that it's okay for him to do this, and this is why he does it, because that's the minimum for servers where he lives. So might as well take advantage of that, right? You don't pay over the minimum. Why would you be a nice guy? Don't be a good guy. Being a good guy is not going to get you that Ferrari. Being a good guy is not going to get you that multi-million-dollar mansion. I mean, seriously, I mean, think about it. Like, how are you going to live in the really fucking awesome areas and shit, and have like a huge family with everybody with Teslas and shit, you know? Like that's basically the concept here. Like, their whole job is to rip off people underneath them, and this is the thing that I'm noticing more and more as I live in this world now. Like, I'm noticing that these corporations obviously don't give a fuck about anybody underneath them. But on top of that, they're spitting on your face, because they're basically like, oh, if you want to support your family and you want to be able to like live, then you better work hard. But working hard for that person doesn't mean that they're going to get more money. It just means that all they're going to do is just work hard for nothing, basically. What, for a pizza party at the end of the month or something, if they even do it once a month? You know, most companies don't even do that shit like that often. Like, you know, so like, that's what you're working hard for, is a fucking pizza party, and that's it. Like, it's so ridiculous, man. This world is like literally upside down, and I wish that the government would like step in and do something about this. Like, why hasn't the government actually like not only tried to like tax them way more than they do for poor people? Because like, I consider anybody that's making less than $100,000 a year, they're basically going into like poor class. Pretty much. Like, 100,000 is still a lot of money. Like, you can live off of that pretty nicely. But the thing is that I noticed that most people that have $100,000 paying businesses, or like not even businesses, but like they're working for somebody, they usually have student loans, right? So then they got to pay the fucking student loans off. And then on top of that, they probably have so many other expenses. Like, I saw a story from the whole Twitter thing, where apparently, I don't know if these are true stories or not, but when Elon was firing people, there was a guy that came out and he was like, you know, I got fired, but I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pay off my Tesla now. And I thought that was fucking hilarious, because it's like, damn, you know, your idol, the guy that you bought the car from, it's taking over your company, so you should be happy about that, right? But he ends up just laying your ass off. Like, so you don't even get like any kind of respect at all from the person that you admire. Like, they just like, get the fuck out of here. Like, oh, you're getting paid a little too much, get the fuck out of here. Boop. And that's it. Like, that's what they think of us, you know? Like, it's so fucking sad.